we should just start with our program here. So you can see a little bit around. So first, Karen Nelson will talk about exciting new things at the grade school. Then Jessica Eichel will talk about exciting new things with the Multicultural Council. And then hopefully Jim Stearns will be here and we can go to the rest of the order. But we will see, we are flexible. Okay, thank you.
Well, welcome everyone, and thank you for your flexibility. I want to mention that Laurent Chiquet, our upper grades resource teacher, will be joining me up here in just a moment. But today I want to talk to you a little bit about some of the programs we're expanding or have expanded. So one of our programs is the outdoor classroom. And we've been working for a while now. First we started with the outdoor classroom committee that met for years, and there we shared ideas and strategies and hopes and visions. And in the last year, we worked together to collaborate on creating our dream position. And we went through the process of creating a resume together, and we took that to our college of teachers and collaborated and formed this position that we're now looking for. So the whole purpose of this is to strengthen the connection that the children have to nature. And that's really a fundamental part of wildlife education. Leading research, universities and nonprofit organizations around the world affirm the powerful impact of a nature-based education. It increases student engagement, improves academic performance, and enhances the health and well-being of our students. So our outdoor classroom coordinator will help teachers and students find more opportunities to be outside. We have a pretty strong program from nursery all the way through third grade, with hiking days and the gardening. Then fourth and fifth, we find that we want a little more support. And so the teacher will be expanding those experiences and also helping the upper grades teachers to plan and research and lead our camping trips that we do once or twice a year. And these are wonderful opportunities, but with our large classes, we just find that we need a little more. So we will be posting this soon, and right now we are working with a woman from Boulder who is working with our current fourth grade, and we're working with her to see and imagine more about what this program can be. We have always had a movement program at the San Francisco Waldorf School, and right now our movement teacher is Mona Lewis, and she will be moving from a 75% position to 100%. And part of how we will expand that position is through the developmental movement. And this is something we do especially with the younger children. And it is a special way of working with them that allows them to get into their bodies more and to be really prepared to learn. Studies also show that movement will help the brain retrieve information and create new ideas. And so she'll be working with the younger children in this way. We have a little lavender room back there where she spreads out the mats, and with Ian Schneider, she's developing this curriculum. And she also will be doing some morning movement with classes throughout the grades. So we're looking forward to working with Mona in that new way. Last year, we created a whole new position, which was the upper grades resource teacher. And Laurent Chiquet has been fulfilling that role in our school, and I'm going to turn it over to her because she has a few things to say about how the program can be.
So this year, I think there's a new slide. Okay. This year is the first year of this new program where I am the teacher for now who teaches some blocks in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, as well as some additional lessons as needed. So this is what my year looks like. And the main difference is with what we've been doing before. We've always had guest teachers in the upper grade, but the main difference is that we are now splitting the classes for physics and chemistry to allow for more hands-on opportunities for the students. The way science is taught in Waldorf schools is that we study, we observe the phenomena, and from those observations we draw conclusions. And in a large class of 30 students with a teacher in the front, it's kind of difficult to observe really well. So modeling this middle school program a little bit more on what the high school is doing, we've decided to divide the classes in two groups so that everyone could experience the experiments and do them themselves. And I had for you, so I'd say it's been going very well, to answer Karen's question. It's really a success. The students seem very excited about it, and I want to share with you some of what they say about it. I'm right now teaching this geography block in the 8th grade, so I was able to ask them to reflect. They had physics in the fall, and I asked them to reflect on what that was like. I liked that I could work with my classmates better because we had assigned groups. This allowed me to learn not only from the teacher, but also from my peers. I really enjoyed that we actually did the experiments instead of just watching the teacher. I could learn more from doing it myself, and it also helped me understand the experiment. This also challenged me more, which I liked. And maybe Cory will have the next slide. Sorry. So these are 7th graders, actually, so not the ones who wrote these. This is the chemistry block here, and we are out in the yard. And as part of our study of combustion, we are distilling wood. And what is coming into this cup here is wood distillate, which is a very smelly substance. But you can see the students with blowtorches in their hands, heating up this copper pipe, and this is, of course, much more exciting to do yourself than to watch the teacher. Up here, this is physics, 7th grade physics, mechanics, the study of pulleys, and you may recognize Rain right here, who does this professionally and came to give the students a full-size experience of what it's like to use pulleys and experience the mechanical advantage. So, another testimonial. I thought it was cool that we were able to do the experiments ourselves because it made the block far more interesting as well as exciting. I felt like it helped me to understand the experiment better since I was the one making it happen. Everyone was able to participate and speak their minds, and we all had front row seats. I really enjoyed having a split block. I was able to see better because there were fewer people, understand better because there was more time to look into specific questions, and get more hands-on learning. When we got to do the experiment by ourselves, I was able to learn more because I could touch it and fiddle with it. So I think these prove that we've achieved what we wanted, and we're very excited to continue this program in coming years. And for me personally, it's been wonderful to get to know more students in the school, because up until now I was a class teacher, just working with one class, and working with 3 classes has been wonderful. So this is it.
Hi, I'm Jessica Eicher. I'm the high school chair. And tonight I'm going to talk a little bit on behalf of the Multicultural Council about some full school changes that are happening, and I'll also give a little background, some highlights on high school program as well. And this conversation of multiculturalism and diversity is something that's been important to me in my personal work and also the school in the last couple of years. And tonight I want to share and actually celebrate some changes that have happened with the Multicultural Council. The council was formed 7 years ago in 2010 and really came together as a community group from all areas of the school. And I actually wanted to thank tonight that team of people who came together to put together that first draft of what we called at the time the framework for multicultural inclusion, and it really became the backbone of how we're working with diversity in the school for the last 7 years. And the team worked in different ways, in different constellations, behind the scenes, and also way out front leading different initiatives. And many of them, faculty, staff, and parents, committed so much work to that. The work and the scope and the reach of the committee has expanded. And so this year, we've restructured the Multicultural Council to include, actually next slide, to include the diversity committees, which are representing different areas of the school. And this is going to allow us to work more quickly and also more effectively. And I really see this as, I see the reorganization as an accomplishment and as growth. So just to really briefly go over what's happened is we've now founded a parent diversity committee, a grade school diversity committee, a high school diversity committee, and a board diversity committee. And these groups each have their own tasks, each have their own focus, and there will be 1 to 2 representatives from each of the diversity groups who come together quarterly to form what we will still call the Multicultural Council. And that council will mainly be a reporting and goal-setting body. And the work will actually happen, as I said, more effectively, more efficiently in those groups. Quickly, going over here, you can see the tasks and focus for parent diversity will be facilitating dialogue, community building, inclusion, student experience, and outreach to new families, as well as continuing with the World Cafe and Parent Speak, which has been really 2 wonderful programs established now through the parent work. And I wanted to note that the Parent Diversity Committee will be looking for 1 to 2 volunteers from each class. They're hoping to have representative from K through 12. So if it's something work that you're interested in, at the high school, class sponsors will be talking about it at the beginning of next year. At the grade school, class teachers will be talking about it. If you have questions before and you want to get involved, just come to me and I'll point you in the right direction. That's something that you can look forward to really beginning next year. For the diversity committee's faculty and staff, it will be curriculum review, festival celebration, professional development, admissions, retention, student experience, and the board strategic planning, of course, accreditation, the KISH scholarship, business office, fundraising. And these are really just the beginnings. The next step is for each committee to prioritize those goals, to actually create short-term and long-term goals, and then share them with the community. So I think the next step after that will be to actually rewrite the framework for multicultural inclusion. And this really works with the accreditation goals that we have for multiculturalism and diversity that we talked about last year when we went for our accreditation goals. So it's work that I feel now, more than ever, there's an urgency to the work of exploring identity and cultivating diversity, to committing to justice, and also inspiring both individual and collective action in the world. So out of that, I wanted to share a little bit about themes from the high school in light of these ideas that I see in different ways. And the first thing I thought of was our 9th grade block that just finished recently called Idealism and Humanity. And that block is taught by Miss Lacey, she's humanities, and also our theater teacher. And it's an unusual block because the 9th grade, which is usually the blocks are usually, classes are divided into 2. The whole 9th grade is together. And they are put in random groups. And each group is asked to come up with a society. They're asked to wrestle with all the questions of what it means to be a society. Political, social life, politics, the economics, culture, and also as part of the block, the ninth grade went on a field trip to Yosemite led by our outdoor ed coordinator. They got to have some team building exercises and a social component as well. But the real work is the group project and the working together, the coming together to wrestle with all of those ideas, and then the skill of presenting the work. So I also wanted to share some of what the students said at the end of this block. When they were asked, what did you learn about humanity in the block? I learned that people's differences are the most important thing about someone and should be greatly valued. I also learned how to accept their differences, live happily with them, and be able to discuss them without getting into an argument. The whole world could take this. I learned that everyone like me thinks their idea, solution, or philosophy is the correct one, and you have to let go of that a bit, or you cannot accomplish anything. Compassion. I learned that education is one of the most important parts of society because it shapes the people in it. Well, that's why we're all here. I learned that sometimes even logic cannot triumph over someone else's personal beliefs. I learned that when people who don't normally work together do, they can potentially create good ideas that wouldn't come up otherwise. So they know. Our students know that we need diversity in groups, in institutions, in societies, in our society as a whole, if we are going to change, or to grow, or to innovate. And I see a thematic arc. I wish I had pictures of the ninth grade, but I don't, so you have to keep looking at this. Of this question of ideals for our curriculum. And I was speaking with Mr. Ferry, who is one of our math teachers, and he has developed some curriculum called spherical geometry that he teaches in the 10th grade as part of a math book. And he shared with me an inspiration from from a book that he's been reading as he developed this class, which is now in place. And it's from a book called Non-Euclidean Adventures on the Lenart Sphere by Istvan Lenart. Teaching spherical geometry urges students to compare their ideas with those of others, to reason and argue in a constructive manner, and to look at people with different points of view as partners in finding the truth, not as enemies. Our greatest hope is that these studies on the sphere may increase the number of those with whom students will be able to communicate, live, and work on this globe. And I think it's an unlikely place to find inspiration for diversity and multiculturalism in a math block. That's what we do. You know, this is the 10th grade block. It's also a similar premise for projective geometry, where students, in asking our students to step out of themselves and look at things from different perspectives, we teach them a skill that they can then go use in the world. And just one more example, in the 12th grade, the seniors are currently in a quarter of humanities dedicated to transcendentalism and reading Emerson and Thoreau, among others. And Dr. Cabrera, who's here tonight, but she teaches half of that block they're divided into. And she shared with me that this week, during Monday's class, the students all agreed that if we don't let ourselves be aware of and act to change even the smallest injustices, then we become complacent and numb to injustice altogether. And they eagerly wrote an essay on what they would go to jail for and why. And I haven't been able to read that essay yet. I can't wait. If I do get to hear some of what those whys are. And one of the students lamented, you see how difficult this school makes it for us? We can't just not be awake. And it's true. They can't not be awake. It's really through the curriculum and through relationships that we strive to help students become resilient and creative human beings who lead lives of purpose and direction. And it's part of our mission. It's part of our philosophy. It's on the website. The realization of responsible human freedom is one of the foundations of Waldorf education and of our school. and we support human ideals of inclusivity, respect, and kindness that were so beautifully articulated by this year's 9th grade. And we recognize that diversity is the strength of our community, and we, along with the students, will keep working towards these ideals. And I see this as the next step in that working. Thank you.
Thank you, Jessica. So, thank you for the additional people joining us now. I guess we can go back to our original schedule. The mission. So,
Read the mission before I said
right. Let's just go, Jim. Jim, can I? So, I want to give it over to our board member Jim Stearns, who was the chair of the committee for the search of the administrative director, and he will talk about it. I don't think there are any other slides. No slides.
No slides.
Just
Jim.
Okay, hi. Well, the good news is we have an administrative director. So Craig Appel, who's a grade school parent and former board chair, and very committed to our mission as a school, and very experienced in the areas of management, administration, and fundraising, which are really the focus. But I wanted to just briefly explain the process that we went through, because even though we found somebody who was a member of our school, we actually looked through the entire country. So this began last May, and we created a search committee that was comprised of many board members, faculty, staff, administrators, so that we had a good composite of the school community itself. And we hired a search firm, which is the first time I believe the school has done this. And it turned out that the largest search firm in the country was also the only one that we found that had any Waldorf experience. And so they understood what we were looking for, what our model of governance was, and so we hired this fellow, Skip Cotkins, and he's based in Seattle. He came down, and the first step was we got the whole community together and met with Skip. So he met with key staff people, he met with the faculty at the grade school and the high school, he met with the college, he met with the board, he met with the search committee, and he listened to what everybody was looking for in terms of leadership for the school. He read the job description that currently existed, and then he put together a pretty nice profile of the school and the job that then he distributed. They have a network of 3,000 to 5,000 emails of educators all over the country that they work with, in addition to the usual websites. And out of that, they got a bunch of applications, and he screened them for our criteria in terms of that they met our qualifications that we were looking for, and met our compensation guidelines, so they weren't too expensive for us. And out of that, we interviewed 6 candidates, and really from North Carolina, Delaware, Illinois, California, and men, women, people of color, people with Waldorf experience, people without Waldorf experience. Out of that, we ended up with 3 finalists, and we actually dug a little deeper and looked for more candidates and interviewed a couple more, but ended up with the same 3 finalists who many of you met. And they came in for a rather grueling 2.5 days, where they did the same thing that Skip had done and met with key staff and everybody, and were really kind of put through the ringer. I felt a little bad for them. When they went to their final exit interview with the search committee, they all looked super exhausted and drained, but energized. And we learned a lot from these 3 gentlemen who had deep experience in different aspects of what we were looking for. One had been ahead of 5 different independent schools in his career. Another had spent his first, I think, 15 or 20 years as a professional fundraiser, and then had gone into education and was just a wealth of knowledge about fundraising. And then Craig. But in the end of the day, I think that all 3 of them really met our qualifications, but for us, Craig had also the cultural fit that we felt like he understood our mission the best and could be most effective within our unique style of governance that is very collegial, very collaborative, and like a university gives a lot of power to the teachers, and you need somebody who is able to work with that environment effectively with that person. So I don't know if there's any questions, but that's the process. All right.
So today it's I see it's really like an assembly of many different topics. So I won't go into the whole financial state of the school. I mean, we do have a financial normal meeting that's usually in November, and where we present the financials, the audit returns, results, and all of that. So today I actually want to focus on two things: enrollment and tuition. Enrollment is important because enrollment is actually the biggest strength of our schools. Is our school thriving or not? And as you see, it is. We will be reaching next year. Let's looking forward into next year. We will be reaching almost 160 students at the high school, which is the highest ever. 277 at the grade school. The high school still has some room to grow, but it is growing over time. Grade school is at capacity, and then you see the nursery program, which is also full at capacity. So that's an important chart to always show, because it shows that our school is growing, and especially the high school market is a smaller market. It's a more difficult market than the grade school. Our high school is relatively new. Okay, so let's talk about tuition, because since we sent out contracts last week, I have heard a lot about why does tuition go up every year, and how are we even able to afford it? Is it going to go on like this every year, 1.5%, whatever it is? So I just want to assure everybody this is one of the most important decisions that school make, and it's also the most difficult to strike sort of the right balance between our community, what our community can afford, and also what we as a school need, specifically our teacher salaries. And I will show you in detail how it's looked like. This is essentially the balance. What can our community afford? And we need to be able to retain our teachers, attract new teachers to be able to live in San Francisco. So that's essentially the balance. So take a look at this chart, which is always, I do this chart every year, and I've been doing it now for 8 years, and it never changes. In schools, we are always pretty much at the bottom of the pack. Not that we want to be at the top, but it is just to see what other schools are doing. We are not doing anything unusual. We are not doing anything that other schools are not doing. Every school raises tuition 4.5% pretty much every year. And much of that is driven actually by parent expectations. There's new programs, there's learning differences, there are new things that parents want to see. So the whole school market goes really into this direction. And our position is exactly there where it has been 9 years ago. With the comparative lower and middle schools, you see all of them. This is the entry grade, and then the grade 8, so kindergarten, grade 8, and then the high schools also. So these are the schools that we compare ourselves with, where families decide to go when they check out the world of high school. They also check out and they pay, these are the benefits to the community. These are their prices. So it's important to notice this is actually what it costs to offer a private school, not an independent school education. And we ask ourselves, it's a long discussion every year. People in the finance committee know that. We ask ourselves, how do we justify it? Where do we actually sit in terms of our quality of the education that we offer? We cannot offer some of the facilities that some of the other schools have, and we are very much aware of that. We don't have $50 million cafeterias, so but what is really important, and I think we have a wonderful education, a wonderful quality of education, and what people want to see is sort of character development in their children. I mean, this is, at the end of the day, the most important thing that you want to have in schooling. And our kids do get into great school and great colleges. We all do that. So this is where the market is, so to say. And I think Waldorf offers a great value proposition in that way. Now, at the same time, tuition payments are a big word for everybody in our community, and what can we do to offset those? And we do give a very high amount of tuition assistance. That sort of shows our focus on our community. We do give to a lot of people. We give actually in total 25% of our student population are on some kind of financial assistance at the day school. It's 9 students, high school 63 students, and then we have special scholarships programs that are funded from a different pool. We have 70 students on those. So it's a large amount of money that we try to dedicate to make it possible that our constituency does not change with these ever rising tuition increases. As you saw in the letter that went out, our tuition went up 5.9%, and our tuition increase, our tuition assistance pool went up 9.5%. So it's actually rises faster. And I think there is the next slide shows that actually over the last 7 years, tuition went up essentially 29%, and tuition assistance went up 50%. And this trend continues, with this year. This was to 2016, so with 2017, it will continue like this. So you see, we do make an effort to offset the rising costs of tuition, and we do it a little bit differently. We give less money to more people. Other schools give more money to less people. Other schools, like university, for example, they give full scholarships to very few people. That all end up to about 20% of their net revenue goes towards tuition assistance. So we are not off the chart there. We just differ in how we spread it wider throughout. So let me just go to this chart, because this is sort of the other side. What do we use the money for? And 85%, actually more than 85% of that tuition increase goes to teacher salary. So this is a lot of numbers. I understand this is just a working chart that I gave you heading on this. So as of so there is a compensation committee at the school, and we have identified raising teacher salaries as our number one priority. And it has been going on for 2 years now. So where we are right now, you see the faculty broken down by years of experience, and where we are at San Francisco Waldorf, our median teacher salary is $65,000. So that's all teachers. Starting in that we get 25 years, so $65,000. We need to make sure we maintain, the existing teachers and attract new teachers at $65,000, and that's really a challenge. We have a benchmark we compare ourselves with to other large urban Waldorf schools, because teachers we buy from other Waldorf schools, where they are starting school in New York, which is one of the most expensive one in the world, as they are. You see the whole list here. We have 12 in our list, and we do want to be at least the 90th percentile of the schools. And as you see, we are 8% still below that. With the cost of San Francisco, cost of living, we actually should be more than 90th percentile. So there's already one indicator where we're falling short. Then the other comparison we do with San Francisco independent schools, and here are the schools we compare ourselves with. And we do want to be right in the middle, 50th percentile. And you see salaries at other schools between 1 and 5 years is 60,000. 11 years is almost 70. 21 to 25 years is $95,000. That's the median teacher salary. And we are at 75. So we are 19% off. So this is a gap we do need to fill. This is a gap we do need to fill. We don't want to fall into the trap and be left behind, and teachers, the best teachers can afford to come here to our school. That would be not a good sign. It would not be well for our future. So essentially, this is where 85% of the tuition goes, and the rest, is 50%, goes to infrastructure. I just want to make sure and I'm happy to discuss all of it, talk about it, but you understand this is really our main concern. And I also want to make sure you understand that the annual tuition is totally separate from any building project that you might be doing, and which we talk about it later. It has nothing to do with this completely different financial cycle. Tuition doesn't pay for any of that. This is paid by financing, refinancing, savings, and donations. This is the annual operating situation that goes to teachers' salary, essentially. So that's what I want to focus. There's no time for Q&A afterwards. But anyway, if you have questions, you have suggestions, let me know afterwards. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, 180. Yeah, over 160. Yeah. All right, so we did the program part from Karen and Jessica. We will now, let's put Mitch up here.
So as Gerhard was saying, part of what the teacher salaries and the annual operating is covered by the tuition that everybody pays. Annual fund is the other part of that. And so I know that a lot of you understand this, but we need to say it over and over because a lot of people say, why do we have an annual fund? I don't understand that. What it is that when we're setting tuition, there's still a gap between what we put into our annual budget and the amount that we collect in tuition. That amount per student is averaged at about $2,700. So every one of you here who's paying a full tuition for your child, you are not quite paying for what the school is paying to educate your child. And that gap, $2,700, we have to make up for through fundraising. And so that's why my office focuses on a few different things to raise money. One is the annual fund. And so you see that with the board's assistance over the past 7-8 years, we've had really wonderful increases in annual fund. This was at the same time that we were raising a $3 million endowment and that we've been working on new plans for buildings. Part of what has helped us is this 100% campaign, our full participation. I've had a few conversations with parents who say, I can't give you anything. Can I give you $100? Can I give you $20? And what I explain to them is for those who can give at higher levels, it means a lot to them that they're not the only ones. If that number was 15% and we were still at a very high number, they would know that they're carrying all this load by themselves. But just the ability to give us anything at annual fund has enabled those other families to feel good about giving more. It's like you're voting with your dollar or your dollars or multiple dollars. It's a way for all of us as a community to say, I'm in this with you, and we're all supporting. The other thing that we know is that foundations, when we go to foundations, which is where we want to get a lot more money, foundations and corporations, one of the things they like to do as a foundation is give money to successful organizations. They don't want to give a grant to an organization that has no support. And so when you go in, and one of the things we always lead with is we're 100% participation school, they're impressed because they know, they also see our finances. They know that 45% of our families are on tuition assistance and are giving. And so it means a lot to our families to be here. And in turn, the foundations say, great, you guys are great. That is in along with what we've done in the finance of the school and made our finances extremely strong. So the other piece of this is clearly our events. We raise money through Winter Fair every year that helps us support the school. We also raise a significant amount of money from our spring night. Hopefully everybody's receiving their invitations, got their invitations, or will have received their invitations. Wonderful. Spring night this year is on March 11th, so we hope to see you all there. Speaking of foundations, we wanted to share with you that we just received a grant from the city of San Francisco. This was a community challenge grant that thanks to Ali Sant, who is here, and a group that's called HICA. There's a company called HIFA who actually helped build the green wall at the MoMA. If you haven't seen it, you should go see it. It's beautiful. They have been working with Ali to consider ways to green our campus, to make our campus just more inviting and more beautiful. We put in a presentation to the city to green our sidewalks. They have this community challenge grant that I believe is part of the Sustainable Streets program. And so we put in a proposal to redo the front of the school's landscaping, sidewalks. You'll see here that a few of the things we want to do is create permeable sidewalks so that when it rains, not all the water runs off. It goes back into the aquifer. You know, if you imagine if the entire city had this kind of thing, it would be wonderful. And so the city is actually encouraging this kind of thing. We're going to do landscaping that will include some benches so that the kindergarten kids don't have to sit on the ground where the dogs come and things like that. We're going to capture rain off of Dakin Hall, and it'll be stored in a cistern that will then be tied into an irrigation system so that we're irrigating the plants with captured water. We're considering what kinds of trees to replace, because if you've been here in the mornings, if you get here from 7:45 till about 8:10, Alex is raking leaves, and he has been for, I think, 12 months a year we have leaves fall off that tree, which seems impossible, but it does happen. And also these trees, they're not actually the right kind of trees to have in San Francisco. They have really shallow roots, which is why if you notice when you walk out tonight, the sidewalk gets buckled. We have to do work on that sidewalk all the time. And so we're going to go to a different kind of trees in the front of the school. Some other things that we're considering that we put into the proposal, and we're just trying to figure out how to make it work, is electric bike charging. Laurence now rides her electric bike every day. Corey rides her electric bike every day, which the neighbors love because that frees up more parking. We're hoping to encourage that more and more from parents and other faculty members. And the other thing that actually we scored the highest of any proposal that was put in. And the reason we did is because one of the members of the committee was part of the parklet system that is in San Francisco. And she read our proposal to create a parklet in front of the school in this neighborhood, and she loved it. You know, this is something that we need to talk to neighbors about because it is going to take away a parking spot. But the idea that is behind the parklet system is to create more of a community. And that's what the city has in mind. Many of you probably been there as extensions of businesses. This would be an extension. The school will be the maintainer of the parklet and the sidewalk, but it will be for the entire neighborhood use. And so all of these things will be discussed in some upcoming meetings that we're going to invite the entire community to, because we want to vet these ideas. But this is one thing you'll be seeing this summer, transforming the front of the school, so everybody will come back in the fall to hopefully a brand new looking front of the campus, which we then hope to carry right through the campus over the next few years. Now I want to introduce Connie Wilcott. I think a lot of you might know Connie. Connie is our chair of the campaign for the Center for Athletics and Community. I got the same pictures, but he loves the boards. So,
So thank you all. Gosh, I feel like this has been a total odyssey of the community center gym that we've been on together. Dave Bushnell at 450 Architects and I have been working at, it's almost 3 years together. And we had an incredible milestone event right before Christmas where about 40 members of the Walnut community all braved it through the rain and went to City Hall to the upstairs room where the supervisor sat. And we came in there. We had 20 students. We had a couple of our incredible volleyball players decked out in their sweats and ready to spike somebody. Get flat. We had consultants. We came in there and we were just ready for a long drawn-out fight. And to our amazement, they said, "Okay, anyone opposed?" It was crickets, and they said, "All in favor." Unanimous 9-0 vote. Boom, we're all out of there. It was quite an amazing day. But then we couldn't really do backflips and really cheer, because as we were all leaving, one of the neighbors snuck in and he threatened to appeal. And so it took us a couple of weeks to smooth his feathers over in the Westboro neighborhood. But thankfully, Lisa Anderson was incredible. Dave Bushnell did a hell of a job in all their concerns. So they withdrew their appeal and we're off to the races. So exciting times. All right. So features. What are we looking at here? Dave, you can keep me honest here, but total indoor building area 9,100 square feet. The main big center right here at 7,300 square feet. 30-foot high ceilings, 26 feet up to the underside of the beams, which is absolutely recommended for girls volleyball when they hit the ball as hard as our girls hit the ball. These things go ricocheting up in the air. Amazing basketball, full court size, 80 feet long by 50 wide. This is compliant so that we can have home playoff games within our conference, which, by the way, tomorrow night at 8 o'clock, the boys varsity will be playing a playoff game at Kezar, which is an old classic gym. I encourage everyone to come. They're an amazing team. And then also, to get us compliant to host playoff games, we have stacking bleachers with capacity of 376, which is incredible. So we've done this, the home court campaign, and this is one of my favorites, is the little banners that we've been racking up over the last couple of years with our girls volleyball team and hopefully our boys basketball team this year. But the fact that we have these banners kind of squirreled away in the high school, it's just a shame. I want to see them like the Boston Garden hanging down, jerseys retired, and all that kind of stuff. Also, you should note over here is a classroom hanging off, and so that's good. The teachers out there are every time we get the question like we did tonight, what is capacity at the high school? And we as a board say, oh, it's 200, 240. They have almost died because there's no room out there. But anyway, this 850 square foot classroom, also installing infrastructure for a full commercial kitchen, right? And so you can see what they're dealing with out there right now. It's a wonder that anyone gets fed. So this will be incredible as well. The living wall, which you can see on the left portal side, so that's kind of right across from where the community stop is. 100 foot by 24 cistern with 5,000 gallons. Water stormwater management system. Solar panels. But yeah, it was also one of the conditions to appease the neighbors to beautify the project. And as one of our incredible board members wrote, and I'm going to just quote her because she sums it up so well. There are certainly great opportunities on both campuses to create a vision for how schools teach and promote sustainability. HIFA's designs for living wall, fog catcher, water capture systems at the high school and the sidewalk partlet at the grade school are inspiring examples of this direction. Together with the outdoor classroom, these campus improvements can give the school a solid direction forward to become a model for bringing together ecology and education in an urban environment. So, that's this. Those are some of the amazing features. You may say, gosh, how much is all this going to cost? And we've got the figure at about $8 million, which if you break that down, it's $870 a square foot. So total, it's about 9,100 square feet, so it's about $870 a foot. The benefits, there's a ton here. Do you have the home court campaign bullet points? I guess. Okay. So that's all right. More than a gym, I'll be brief here. So it's truly going to be a community center for athletics, obviously, performances, lectures, dances, community gatherings such as town hall, back to school night, and graduation potentially. Home court advantage, we touched on the fact that we have to, a lot of our teams have to rent gyms. Everyone's been to enunciation, struggling to find parking, been locked out once you do find parking. Yeah. It's kind of a bummer, and then you finally do get out after watching the game and you've got a parking ticket if your car's there at all. So at this facility, obviously everyone would like and take meetings. Showcase facility. SF Waldorf competes for prospective students against independent high schools with very significant facilities. My son and I just went to the urban campus the other night in Haight-Ashbury, and they've just opened an incredible facility. In their gym, we watched an amazing basketball game. Stands were full, banners were everywhere, and but people were just popping in from the neighborhood and watching great Friday night lights type basketball game. It's amazing. Increased public awareness, CYO games, home games, and but yeah, this is in addition to CYO, for example, our girls play for a local volleyball team called SF, or a club called SF Junior Volleyball, and they're always looking for gym space. And reached out to Q Choi, and he said, absolutely, we would love to rent this. I think the going rate's $150 an hour. So we get not only the revenues, but we also get more people checking out the games.
One thing important to add is that also our grade schoolers from 6th grade up, 6, 7, 8 can use this gym for games and for other activities. So it's actually a whole school building, not just for the high school, but for the whole school. It can be used for many, many purposes.
Okay, those are some of the benefits. And now, where are we in paying for all this? So, the silent phase, the last couple of years, while 450 architects and personnel have been ranking the city, has given a subcommittee of the board kind of a SWAT team to go out and line up prospective donors. And I'm happy to say that we're about 5.2 million in pledged amounts out of the 8 million. So that's so that leaves about 2.75 million or so to get across the goal line. And I just want to mention that the board has been incredibly supportive over the last couple of years. We've had raging debates over whether or not we really needed this. All I really wanted was a scrum gym like we see at Circus Soleil. I thought it cost $100,000, and I said, why can't we have that? And the city shot me down for a second. So here we are. But anyway, I want to thank, and I'm just going to name all of them because if you don't like me and you don't want me to talk to you about a potential gift, then we've got 20 other board members. So the Rutherfords, the Crowley family, Jim and Kim, Stearns and Hopper, Morgan Walsh, Mike Satopa, Ali, Gretchen Hilleband, Gita, Liz Halifax, Joan Cabrera, Paige Hart, John Jackson, Sandy Bitsy, Sheila, obviously, Zadie Thompson, a new member, Daniel Dignan, Stephen Goldman, another new member, John Burkett, Gerhard, and Karina. So take your pick. I'm sure you'd like a few of them. Have them over to your house for coffee, tea, or beer, and talk about how we can get the last 2.75 million in the bank. Questions? Thank you.
Oh, there's upcoming events. Sorry, I forgot. Everybody come to spring night, and Grandparents' Day is coming up. There's a musical. You're going to read your bullets, and I know everybody in here every week reads it from top to bottom. These are going to come up. And mom's night is to be determined. If you want to help, call Jess.
So thank you, everybody. So this was quite a variety of topics, from multiculturalism, programs, grade school, education, tuition, and then the gym. So, now it's time for question and answers. Let's see. Yeah, I need to answer as many as we can. Karen.
Dave Bushnell can talk about the permit process now that we've gotten through agreement for supervisors with security purposes as we permits for purposes of making room probably in July, August. And so that's kind of like the accelerated version of that, but the permits in this issue have a shelf life of over 18 months. So it's kind of a moving goalpost. Some site prep work that we feel can be done. There's some trees that haven't fallen down that they should. And the goal is to get the site work going in the August, September timeframe. In a perfect world, we potentially have commencement for homeowners class of 2018.
Other questions?
Did you just roll that last dates back?
The upcoming event.
Yeah.
They're also published as the
I know. I know. This is nice. And I read my Tuesday
Yeah,
notes, and I actually look forward to it. But this is nice. To
Yeah, it is. It actually makes you see how much.
Yeah.
There are other things you came up during the tuition increase. One of the board's biggest major priorities is salaries for faculty and staff, making sure that they such an amazing job. And so we do have this 6% inflation every year, increase in tuition. The other side of that is, as you see in many bigger institutions, is the endowment. And Sheila can attest, we've done an incredible job raising reaching through $3 million in our endowment over the course of the last probably 18 months, 24 months. But ultimately, as that endowment grows, that is a source of being able to help us offset some of the inflation that we see year-over-year tuition increases, and use 3 to 5% basically as practice out of the dividends and the endowment goes off to help put that into things like whatever our priorities are, and right now being continuous.
Right, that's a good point. And the endowment is growing. I mean, we have reached the $2 million, and it is growing. And actually, just last week, we pledged for $300,000 teacher salaries to go.
So you said there was this short problem on teacher salaries versus this 90% final, 50% comparison. Is that needed on next year? Because every other school is increasing that's their salary.
Yeah,
And will still be behind.
we are catching up. We are certainly catching up. I think the schools has really increased. High increases as we do. Thank you. Cost of living adjustments, some experience with so we're ready to catch up. We want to catch up. So, 2, 3 things that will be so it's also a balance with the program that already is a need to be funded also. Like a teacher in school, so that early this so between this and general increases we catch up with these things. But it's a challenge for all schools all schools in San Francisco to make possible to attract teachers. School, which is sort of a discussion where teachers can apply relatives considered in their financial circumstances. That's allow them to hear, otherwise they are also supported in different ways. So without even waiting 3 years, you already can attract them essentially. Yeah, I mean, we have 5 funds actually. But some people really very interested in certain things like overall education, things like this, tuition assistance, others in cultural, and then there's also teaching religion. So we have these buckets, and they start distributing this year or next year. So we have the accumulating phase, we have so things like this. Other questions?
So I noticed university committees, there's outreach committee, and there's questions. These are the two primary increasing the diversity of students and faculty. I'm kind of wondering if those things are getting priority.
The outreach to new families is really already extant. So creating that work that kind of rests of creating. So that's what that refers to. Whereas the other work really rests for the institution. So that's why.
And at the same time, we are aware that we hear about diversity in various houses and university, and therefore we are actually specifically reaching out to so universities, incentives, staffing, also government. So we are aware. So hopefully we can also it takes a great mass to be here, to be at school. And high school is it's very diverse. So which is programs, diversity, let's say, school so I should say that we have international students, it's different. It's basically a great school. So working hard to attract corporations and staff. So
But certainly the hiring question would rest with those diversity.
We're going out to
Are you talking about hiring? That's what we're talking about now. We do it. We need to do it. And these, like I said, are the preliminary topics that we've come up with. The real work now is going to get into timelines and which are specific. So I would say that's
questions. Any other questions? Otherwise, give ourselves an early evening. We can socialize.